Hello guys, today I want to show you one eloquent trick for those of you who like to use events and listeners pattern. So a typical Laravel Breeze example would be in registered user controller store function, which basically means registered users. There's this line, event new registered user. And by default in Laravel, the registered event is listened to. In the event service provider, you may find this. Registered class, it's about sending the verification email if you want to use must verify email function from user model. This comes from default Laravel. But generally, if you want to fire the event from some controller about some model created, you may of course use model observers, or if you still prefer events and listeners, you can describe the same thing in the user model itself. If we go to the user model, we can describe a property called dispatchesEvents. And this actually comes from Laravel Bootcamp, which they released recently, the official Laravel team. Bootcamp as an example of creating fresh new Laravel project. And as a part of that, I've seen this code snippet, dispatchesEvents. When the chirp, so-called chirp model was created, we have a listener class. So if we want to recreate the same experience with user created, we can define the array in the user model created, then we may launch the same listener as the event service provider. So send email verification notification class like this. And that would be the same thing, and then you don't need to register anything in the event service provider, and you don't need to fire the event manually in the controller. As I said, it feels almost the same as using model observer. The main differences, in my opinion, is that you use separate listener classes instead of writing it all in the observer class. It's a totally personal preference how to structure your application, and I talked about that in my recent course about how to structure Laravel project, that it's all your personal preference. Maybe you've used, for example, events and listeners in other frameworks or languages and you're used to that pattern. Maybe you really like the observers in Eloquent, or maybe you do want, for example, to fire the event specifically from the controller so that other developers would see that something is fired, and then they would notice or know where to look for some hidden behavior like listeners. So from other point of view, this is more readable for other developers in the future, that they at least know that the event is fired. In case of observers, for example, or in case of dispatchesEvents here, you have shorter controller and service provider, but the behavior is totally hidden. So you don't see anything happening in the controller, and you need to kind of know that there may be a chance of something happening in the background. And recently I even received an email or a comment with a question, how do you document the observers? So how do you document to other developers in the future that there may be some hidden behavior like observers? And to be honest, I thought about it. I don't really document that because I expect other developers to be quite good with Laravel and understand that there may be some so-called hidden magic of Laravel. And I also tweeted the other day about that hidden magic in general. So when talking about Laravel, people use something like hidden magic or magic in general, the word itself, because Laravel has a lot of such kind of hidden features or auto-firing features, but some people refer to them as the best feature ever, and some of them dislike the Laravel specifically because of that hidden magic, which is almost like philosophical perspective, whether it's good or bad. So in this video, I wanted to show you one of the examples of that hidden magic. What do you think? Which one do you prefer? Did you have any problems with that hidden magic ever in your career or in your team, that someone struggled to find or notice the observer or listener behaviors? Let's discuss in the comments below. That's it for this time, and see you guys in other videos.